preamble here on this part, which is, doing research for this. I didn't want to tell you this until we were rolling, but doing research for this, I was like, man, I was watching some episodes that even don't stand out as episodes to me that I'm like, oh my God, this was an amazing episode. But watching them back all these years later, there's ones that I'm like, man, this actually is pretty darn good. And I don't know if it's just because, some of the newer last 5 seasons had not been good of the show, but I was like I was watching A Christmas Carol. It was the Doctor Who special, season 6, I think. No, season 4. It was Matt Smith's season. I'll have a clip from it later in this video, but I was like, dang, even though it wasn't like one of those episodes, I'm like, oh my God, this is the world's best episode. I was like, this was pretty fun. And it actually kind of made me sad. It made me a little sad that I was like, it made me sad that it's not as good as it was, but I'm glad that I have them still. So I have all the Blu-rays and everything, and I'm like, okay, I might have to go buy the Blu-ray 1 through 7 set now, because I don't have every season on Blu-ray, but I'm like, okay, I need to go buy the Blu-rays before they start doctoring previous episodes with retcons and re-editing stuff, and ruining it, because I was like, dang, it's been a few years since I watched the show, and some things don't age as well, and then some things age really well, and I'd say not all the episodes, but there's definitely ones. I think Matt Smith's episodes will age better because they had more production quality with them, and the writing was some of the best, I think, overall. David Tennant's, though, I think are some of the strongest acting elements, and some of his stuff is just so good. They'll age differently.
I think a good portion of them will hold up well, just because they might not have had the same production value, but they did really good. They did really well, at least practical effects of what they could get away with. Like, I'd say Eccleston probably had a little bit more of the cheese factor that you're going to go back and go,
yeah, his third season, I always tell people, if you're going to watch Doctor Who, watch the first season, because it is a good season, but be ready for early 2000s visual effects on a budget. But I'll take that over bad storytelling on the day. So 1 second here. Thank you for joining us for tonight's show. We've had the funeral is over, and now we are here to celebrate the life of Doctor Who, the greatness of the show that it is. It was, is, in my mind, it's still a great show. And we were just talking about it, that going back and looking at some of these older episodes, like, dang, this is really good. Some of these have held up better than I thought. And there's even episodes that in the past I probably considered like mediocre, but in the current state of television, kind of across the board, their level of optimism and joy in the episodes and passion behind the actors in the show, I was like, man, I miss this, because there's not many shows that have that anymore. And I was just like, this was so refreshing to come back and revisit. And I'll have to go back and start looking at older Doctor Who, mostly in the revival period here since 2005, and going back and kind of cherry picking some of the best ones and reviewing and talking about them, because there's definitely some stuff in it. I'm like, oh, there's some really strong writing and just some strong quotes and moments in it. Like I was just watching the Christmas Carol. We'll have a little part from that. One of my favorite quotes. What our goal here was, as I said, Christopher, pick your 3 favorite doctors, and I'm like, I'll pick my 3. And actually, Christopher said that. I apologize. Actually, Shepard was like, you know what? Pick your 3 favorite doctors. And I was like, well, let me modify that, because my doctors are pretty generic in that sense, because not far off. But like, let's pick moments in their tenure that are really good. So he picked 3. I have like 6, but that's because I have more time to edit stuff and put things together. And I'm sure most of the ones, when he sees them, are going to be like, okay, that's a pretty good moment.
I imagine so. Like we were talking about, just our little prior part, looking forward, doing the research to find the quotes and stuff quotes or scenes from it. And I got the same exact thing, because actually the scene that I brought up for one of the doctors, actually 2 of the scenes actually for 2 of my doctors, it wasn't actually the original scene I was thinking, and then looking through and going, oh yeah, and then hearing it again, watching on YouTube, I went, man, that's why I liked it. And I went, you know what, I'm gonna pull this one instead, because obviously for some of the people we're going to bring up, but I think everyone knows at least one of the people that's going to be brought up on there. more than likely
Yeah.
two of the people
Yeah.
that both of us agree with.
Pretty much.
You know, that it's just like there's so many moments to pull from them, but then some of the ones that I did find that out of the way, I was like, oh.
And a clean segue into that is your number one, which is one that I have no problem with. I know he's probably one of the most famous ones, which is Baker's Doctor. I'm not too familiar personally with Classic. I know a little bit of history of some elements, but I can't say that I've watched a lot of their episodes. I know there's a couple that are considered like the big ones to watch. And one of these days I'll get to it. But just time
Genesis
for him.
of the Daleks is a big one.
Yeah.
They use that for Capaldi. You know, although they've now used it poorly to use for canon breaking, the Brains of Morbius episodes are really good episodes.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a few Tom Baker. Obviously, as you can see, I'm wearing the awesome 16-foot scarf. You can't see the whole thing going all the way down there, but yeah, it's massive.
Yeah, so we'll go in here, and we have a nice little clip here, so this will probably get demonetized in the long run, but it's for review purposes, and we're talking about positively, so don't do that to us. But we have some clips, and some are longer because we'll probably pause and stop in them just because they'll break it up a little bit. But here is our first little clip here. Yeah, it's definitely like the classic character there. Yeah, so that's some good fashion, it's a classic style humor. And so go ahead and tell us why you picked that clip as one of your favorite ones.
Well, I picked it definitely. Well, first off, I put Tom Baker as our top three on there just because, in my personal opinion, I don't think there would be a lot of the new Who doctors the way that they get to be without the beginnings that I think Tom Baker's Doctor got to bring in. I think a lot of the prior doctors at that point, the first three were a little bit more stern. I'd say the third Doctor kind of starts getting a little bit more playful, but they're more stern. They are the old grumpy man kind of thing. And then you get to Tom Baker here, and that's actually, I believe, right after he first regenerates. So that's him actually
Yes, I
getting
believe
to...
so. Mm-hmm.
Because we cut that little part, but he has a moment looking at his face and going like, "Oh, I like the nose better." But you have to take the bumps with the good stuff on there. And it was just a great moment of, honestly, what I see a lot of in there is just that charm, a whimsicalness that I think then, especially having watched only New Who at first, then going back to the classics, to me, I see it as, I think they loved this portion of the old Who. And I think that's what a lot of New Who tried to bring in, especially, I think, for the Tennant Smith years.
I agree with that. I think Baker is considered, like I said, one of the favorites, especially for, like I said, legacy fans who enjoyed the show since the beginning. I think he was one of the ones that really, he was kind of, we talked about it between all three of us brothers, and I compare him to kind of the Tennant one, where he took what the previous actors and work had done and elevated it to a new audience, and not taking away anything from the previous ones, because actually that's a good, we'll tie it to a quote later on that I have in my lines in here, and we'll see that coming up a little later. So we'll cut to the next. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, at least to that, it's kind of fun to say that, just because looking into some David Tennant stuff on there, David Tennant actually wanted to get into acting because of Tom Baker.
And who's his dad? Isn't his dad one of the doctors? Isn't
no,
Tennant's...
David? No.
It's his wife.
His wife is the fifth Doctor.
That's what it is. Okay.
The wife's dad is the fifth Doctor.
That's right. Yeah.
Keeping
in the family.
Doctor.
It's kind of awesome. Yeah.
That
is funny.
Especially since she got to play the Doctor's daughter.
Right.
When it was Tennant. So it's like,
it's kind of perfect,
a fun
right?
little, some timey-wimey wibbly-bobbly going on there.
That was one of the stories that I remember previously that all fans, I'd say, was one of the story arcs that never got addressed. It wasn't an arc. It was one story that had an element that never got addressed, and and the fans always hoped that they would have another reunion between the Doctor and his daughter, his kind of clone daughter. Obviously, that never happened, unfortunately, but so be it. So here we'll move to your number 2 here, next up here, and...
Yes, I assumed one of you was gonna have it, and that's why I did. Yes, this. Like I said, I actually wasn't even thinking about this, but then hearing, since it's not a quote,
this one's an interesting
about
one.
him.
Yeah, this was a good. This is a yeah. It's not him so much quoting. This is definitely a narration of his actions by a third party. But
Yes.
even though it kind of breaks the rules, I felt that it was. I allowed it. I allowed it because it was so good, and it was definitely a good characterization of this Doctor, specifically Tennant's Doctor. I give you a chance, and if you don't take the chance, the repercussions will be severe. And that's why this whole scene here, we'll go ahead and play this one. To give context, if you haven't seen the show, obviously this is the Doctor has been hunted down for the last a year by an alien trying to steal his regenerative ability. Was it trying to steal the regeneration? But he's essentially trying to steal what his essence, I guess the essence and the time travel and all that good stuff. A very sinister group, and they were killing a bunch of kids. They killed families and people. And in the end here, the Doctor literally hid himself as a human, turned himself human temporarily to hide from them. And then at this point, he is back to being a Time Lord, and he pretty much tricks them. And now the I'd say the jury, or not the jury. Well, I guess the judge's hammer gavel has now been silenced, and so the repercussions of their actions have been sentenced. And here's the scene.
Time Lord. And then we discovered why. Why this Doctor, who had fought with gods and demons, why he'd run away from us and hidden. He was being kind. He wrapped my father in unbreakable chains, forged in the heart of a dwarf star. He tricked my mother into the event horizon of a collapsing galaxy, to be imprisoned there forever. He still visits my sister, once a year, every year. I wonder if one day he might forgive her, but there she is, can you see? He trapped her inside a mirror. Every mirror. If ever you look at your reflection and see something move behind you just for a second, that's her. That's always her. As for me, I was suspended in time, and the Doctor put me to work standing over the fields of England as their protector. We wanted to live forever, so the Doctor made sure that we did.
I mean,
it's such a heavy moment, because it's like, and I love that that's how it starts. It's like, why, we finally realized why this man who has fought with demons and gods ran away from us, because he was being kind. And it's because I'm trying to remember where this actually fits within his timeline here, but I think this is kind of beginning his
season. It was the second season with
this
him.
is Martha.
It was correct. This was one of those episodes that on first viewing because I was younger when this one came out, I didn't really love this episode very much, but I've seen it more recently, and it definitely has. This is one of those episodes that has aged well, in my opinion. Again, it's because the great acting, the characterization, and the struggle between the characters. Martha dealing with prejudice against her inside of the space, the war stuff. I think that the young child actor did a really good job.
Yes.
And also the poignant ending of the story with him and his old age, getting to see the Doctor and Martha again at the end of his life. It's one of those few story things that only time travel stories can do, which is touch a character's life throughout their life, but also allow a character to understand the importance of every moment, but also get to experience the kind of infiniteness of reality, which I think is, again, I think what when Doctor Who is firing all cylinders, I don't think there's another show like it that does that. I think when that ability to see a character that kind of is a godlike character in the space and exploring the universe and touching people's lives, I think it is a really cool element of the show. Do you have other comments on that one?
No, like I said, that was just one that when I was scrolling through, I was looking for different stuff to think about, and I was kind of looking through his speeches because, again, David Tennant's doctor is just David
so
Tennant's
many.
doctor. I mean, and, you know, what was hard for me was to try to find if I wanted them a more up moment for him, because there's wonderful up moments, or if I wanted that down moment. And then when I found this one, like I said, I just went, it's so good. It's so I love when other characters get to describe the Doctor, either it be good or, you know, like whether it is, you know, the oncoming storm type sense, or it is the you know, you're a hero, you know, you're a savior kind of thing. It's like, I always love it hearing when someone else explains him, and this one is just so great. Like I said, because I agree with you. You know, it was an episode when it first came out. Watching it, I went, it wasn't bad by any means. I think for me, I think I originally watching it, I was more annoyed by the generic Martha just trying to always go after the Doctor, since that was kind of something for her.
Yeah,
that was always a poor. It wasn't my favorite choice, just because it's like, you know what, you already came off Rose, you know, he still wants Rose, and just having Martha there every episode trying to be like, well, but I want to be romantic relationship. It's like, no, just like,
yeah,
it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, agreed. That probably is a bit of the truth of that. Was that Martha had a infatuation with the Doctor, and that was a never requited, or it was very platonic on his end and not on her end. So we have our next one here, and so this was I don't know if I pulled the right part for you. I wasn't sure if there was a scene in here. If it was the end of the scene here, or the whole scene.
Well, it should be most of it.
Okay, so we'll just play through it, because I'm okay with that. So here we go.
Boarding. No.
Yeah, this is perfect.
I have a crew of 20. How do you expect to gain control of my ship?
This is his third favorite Doctor.
The ship is ours, my lady. All airlocks sealed, resistance neutralized.
Sorry, Colonel Manson. I lied.
3 minutes 42 seconds.
Colonel Manson, you will give the order for your men to withdraw.
No, Colonel Manson, I want you to tell your men to run away.
What?
Those words, run away. I want you to be famous for those exact words. I want people to call you Colonel Runaway. I want children laughing outside your door because they've found the house of Colonel Runaway.
And when people come to you and ask if trying to get to meet with the people I love
is in any way a good idea. I want you to tell them your name. Look, I'm angry, that's new. I'm really not sure what's going to happen now.
The anger of a good man is not a problem. Good men have too many rules.
Good men don't need rules. Today is not the day to find out why I have so many.
Give the order. Give the order, Colonel. Run away.
Ah, that scene, man.
Yeah.
Because again, another moment of I mean, just in general in acting, in the sense of just scene wise too. I mean, the range of emotion that he gets to go through in that little monologue, and just what he gets to do, it is so. I just love it too, because I think especially at the time frame right there. Like, I know there's the fall right after this Pride in the episode,
Right.
even itself, but at the same point, I know River even says it, but like, man, you soar so high in that part. Like, it is beautiful to see him just so calm, and I love it. It's like, and again, you get that great Doctor moment again. Oh, I'm getting angry. I'm getting angry. I don't know I don't know what's gonna happen now. I'm like, it's just so much. Oh, I love that.
And
scene.
Matt Smith was so good at, even though he was the youngest Doctor actor, he was very good at going from the child. You know, it was the child. There was a meme years ago that was like, David Tennant was the tiger,
and the
no,
Eccleston was the tiger. Tennant was the Tigger, and then Matt Smith is like uncoordinated house cat.
Yeah, she like falls off the chair and pretends everything's okay. So you can go from that.
Swirls and's like,
everything's good. It's all good, guys. You go from that into like a moment that you're like, oh God, he does look like he's 1,000 years old. If he told me that in that scene, he'd be like, okay, we're going with that. And I think that's why those scenes with him, with the good writing, I said the highest production value, really high production value, and across the board, just made those scenes so good. I have another couple of his monologues coming up in mind, talking with him and some long good ones. But he was like I said, I feel like they did a perfect casting because they went from what I honestly feel like the first 3 Doctors since the 2005 were almost perfect foils of each other. They were all different aspects of the character, and the actors that played them, I think, did such good jobs. They weren't copying each other. So Matt Smith is still the Doctor, but he's a different version of it, and he truly feels like it. Like there's a lot of, you look at kind of that, even that scene where it's similar to almost the Doctor's David Tennant's first scene, where he's on the spaceship, and he's like, you get one chance, he throws the apple or the ball at the button and drops the little alien guy off. Mm-hmm.
No
and
second chances. That's what kind of man I am.
And so there's definitely that theme they continued through with Matt Smith's character, and I think it really worked well for him. So so we have Baker, Tennant, and Smith for Shepard here. So we're gonna go with my first one here. And Eccleston is not in mine, not because he's not good. So there's a lot of good with Eccleston, but I had to pull ones that I felt like, I don't know if there's any Eccleston ones that other than the classic one, which is Everybody Lives. I do love that one. So honorable mention to Eccleston, Everybody Lives. I think that was a great, that's probably one of his best moments there, because he honestly, he did such a good job with that. And honestly, Eccleston's a daughter.
I don't know. I might give him I give you air from my lungs.
Oh, that's pretty good too. That was a good episode. Honestly, that was, it was good. So
I mean, there's some honest good. There's some. I don't think he gets the emotional depth speeches, but there is some good, just quippy stuff from Eccleston, because he's kind of a sarcastic little punk sometimes, and it's like, so there's moments going back and going, you know what? I like his cynical humor.
Yeah,
coming back and watching it again.
Again, that's why I say that's why they say the first 3, because they all were different elements of it, and they're so rewatchable. Like I said, I other than obviously the first season's the campiest and the lowest budget, but it was safe because I really do like Rose as a companion, and their dynamic was great. And then that dynamic moved from like a like to the love in Tennant's era with Rose and him. And I think that was such a strong thing. And what's nice is they didn't repeat that with Martha or Donna. They both were really strong. So here's my first one. So it's a short one, but it's a goodie.
Oh, you wanted a big red button. One big bang. No more Time Lords. No more Daleks. Are you sure?
I was sure when I came in here. There is no other way.
You've seen the men you will become.
Those men. Extraordinary.
They were you.
No. They are the Doctor.
You're the Doctor too.
No. Great men are forged in fire. It is the privilege of lesser men to light the flame.
I love that line. Watching these scenes again, I'm like, oh my God, it was so good. John Hurt did such a great job as it. Obviously, he was a short-lived Doctor character, but I have a little bit of special because to that line to me, and there's that one coming up later on. Their interaction was so good throughout the 50th special, but I just love that line. It's
agree.
One that for me for so long I've just been like, that is such a good line.
I mean, I have his Sonic, as you just saw a little bit earlier, so that was perfect. I didn't even know that was the thing you were going for, but that's
right. I didn't tell
you. That's awesome. I had the right Sonic for it.
Perfect.
But yes, I completely agree with you, though. Justin, John Hurt for that. Just huge hat tip,
Sir, I think it's Sir John Hurt, right? We can say Sir John Hurt, I believe. I believe so.
Well,
Sir John.
yes,
We'll say he's passed away, unfortunately, so we'll call it Sir John Hurt because like I said,
Sir
he's
John
done
Hurt,
great.
and yeah, for being in that one episode. I think he's ingrained in many of the fans' minds now as maybe not a top, but I think even at the sense of just if you think of Doctor moments there, I mean that one episode is the one episode that is his Doctor moment, even though he's not the Doctor, quote unquote, for this whole thing, and he doesn't feel that he is. Just great scene.
And even
Amazing
the chemistry
job.
between him, it goes back to how good the show was. The chemistry between Rose and the Doctor there in that scene was just so good. Like, she did such a good job in her delivery.
Mm-hmm.
And she was really killing it. Like, it was so great to see her come back. And they did such a good way of bringing her back.
It was a piece de resistance for all of them. I mean,
Yeah.
for all of them
for
acting
sure.
together. Granddad and Sand Shoes and the rest of it. I mean,
It was good.
just so they brought him in, and he did such a great job of just feeling what they had there and enjoying it just as much as himself, and then just bringing it to the table. And yeah, those three, that episode, just in general,
one of the highlights of the show.
like,
So here we
for
go
a 50th anniversary.
Oh,
Heck yes.
I agree. It is amazing. So we'll go to number 2 here. So mine go up to my favorite. So this is my second favorite Doctor. And it should start faster than last time. Hopefully, I didn't give it too much padding.
Wait, I'm using premonition. Should I use this Sonic this time?
Right? You probably should. Goodness gracious! I guess I gave this more than a second padding.
Because, Amy, I am and always will be the optimist. The hoper of far-flung hopes and dreamer of improbable dreams.
Again, it's a simple line. Oh, see that one? I didn't get much padding. It's a simple line, but it's what I love. Like I said, the positivity of the Doctor in this stuff. The hoper of improbable dreams. Like I said, having faith in this kind of caustic universe that better than nothing can happen. And I just that's the stuff I love. That's why
and technically, isn't that actually the doppelganger?
No, the doppelganger was that quick little cutback.
Was he in the back still, or had he? I think didn't he switch at one point, and that was kind of part of the fun there because he was like, "That's been him the entire time, and you thought it's been me."
Right. I think that was him at that point.
Not taking away from the thing at all, but it is fun.
Saying.
It's a fun little.
It's just one of those lines that except when I was going through, I was looking for lines that I remember that always stood out to me as almost like mottos. Like I said, the first one, the man, the light the flame type thing. I was like, oh, that's a cool element.
Yeah.
And that one was like optimism and, hopefulness and everything. So this one coming up here for me, like I said, I have a couple with more than one with each Doctor. This one for me coming up here shows the range, and also it's such a great characterization of the Doctor's playfulness, but also observation at the same time. And also why this also ties into one of mine later on, where why I struggle with future incarnations, not to go too much on that, or of the more current Doctor Who era, which is and in Capaldi's as well, where the Doctor, this line here is one of those ones they said cements a foundational brick of when you're writing the Doctor and you're characterizing him as a character. This scene here is a fundamental brick. Like, you can't remove this brick without removing a fundamental pillar of what the character is. So I'll play this one here.
Give me time and a crayon. Now, this big flashy lighty thing is connected to the spire in your dome, yeah? And it controls the sky. Well, technically it controls the clouds, which technically aren't clouds at all. Well, they're clouds of tiny particles of ice. Ice clouds love that. Who's she?
Nobody important.
Nobody important. Blimey, that's amazing. Do you know, in 900 years of time and space, I've never met anyone who wasn't important before.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
that
Yep.
like I said, that is to me, and I think the Doctor says something similar in another episode somewhere, or at least the same gist. But like I said, that one, like I said, to me, it is, like I said, a fundamental pillar of what the Doctor is, which is everything matters. Everything matters.
Yes.
And that's really all I would say on that. Do you have any thoughts on that?
No, other than I was already just smiling because I just love that whole episode. Because again, he's saving people.
Oh yeah, I was telling you, the episode was one of those ones that I never really thought of as a good one, but I was just watching it today and I was like, dang, this is good. And I love like the whole poignant at the end. Good spoilers here, so I'll give you a couple seconds here. Okay, spoilers. Is that when he's showing essentially his younger self what his future self becomes, and is slowly rewiring this guy by showing his younger self what he's like as a horrible miser. And that to me was so clever. It was the good clever the show could do. That was also like the value of life. That's where I think so many shows across the board of all sci-fi and just storytelling in general has lost the value of life. And this show was, asking questions, and even asked questions of the Doctor in it, where it was like, what day would you pick to have the last day with someone you love, type thing. And there were some good questions in it that even he was like, I can't really, say. But it said it was that was that thought-provoking element to the story, the value of life and all that stuff. And I think that was just, like I said, for me, it was just amazing. So the next one here, I think this might be a longer one. So I'll try.
Moment by moment until nothing remained. No time, no space.
That's monologues.
Just me. I walked in universes where the laws of physics were devised by the mind of a madman. And I watched universes freeze and creations burn. I have seen things you wouldn't believe. I have lost things you will never understand. And I know things, secrets that must never be told, knowledge that must never be spoken, knowledge that will make Parasite God's place. So come on then, take it all, baby, have it, you have it all. Minute because.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was one that was going to be on my list. That was one that I was originally
I figured there was
going
be
for,
one or two on. I have a
that
couple
has been
on
one
here.
of my favorite scenes. I'm almost surprised I didn't get teary-eyed, watching it.
I can
Honestly,
feel
when I do watch that episode,
and the episode's not a great episode. It's one of those ones. The episode as a whole is not a great episode, in my opinion.
No.
That monologue, though, is one that stands out. That stands out to me is Matt Smith firing on all cylinders, channeling everything that the charisma, the machismo, the depth, the pain of the Doctor. Like I said, when he does some of these monologues, he acts so well that, and he's so exposed in it. There's a level of, like I said, he's so over the top on a certain level, but at the same time, it's kind of like a bare nerve. Like you feel like you feel like a bare nerve where you're like, oh yeah, it's all out. It's like a person painting a picture of themselves with every color and smearing the paint, but like at the same time being completely naked doing it because they're like, I don't care. This is the truth of the reality, and it's just
me.
So good.
Matt Smith gets so many of those moments. Like I said, I think that the Demons Run, kind of Runaway is again that a very similar moment for it. The one that I know you're going into because I just know from the front of it is another just a wonderful moment where he gets to, because it's like, what's really interesting. It's like you get Tennant gets the Time Lord victorious mentality at the end of it and gets shut down. Matt Smith then gets. It's like, it's not like the universe lets him get away with it, but it's like he keeps testing it. He doesn't push it as hard as I think Tennant tried to in that moment. Like they're all dead. The laws of time are mine to command. But at the same time, Matt Smith gets there. Like kind of starts like he likes pushing the boundaries of what the universe can do. It's like he doesn't go full at it again, but he gets to test it, and I love it because he loves fighting against it a few times, just pushing. And I think he does have the episode where he goes, I've done so much for the universe. Can it give me one thing? And I can't remember if that's Matt Smith. I think right at his end. I'm trying to remember where that's at.
One. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but that is a good line to come out. So we'll move into this next one here. Another big monologue moment for Smith, but this was one of the crazy episodes that I honestly, I know it doesn't always make sense, but I did love these episodes. These are so good.
Now, the question of the hour is, who's got Pandorica? Answer, I do. Next question, who's coming to take it from me? Come on! Look at me! No plan, no backup, no weapons worth a damn. Oh, and something else I don't have. Anything to lose. So, if you're sitting up there in your silly little spaceship with all your silly little guns, and you've got any plans on taking the Pandorica tonight, just remember who's standing in your way. Remember, every black day I ever stopped you, and then, do the smart thing. Let somebody else try first.
You know, can I just say that Matt Smith is the come at me bro doctor?
He is the little bit.
I mean, you know,
he
just
is,
like
he is the
like
come at me
he's
bro
just like,
doctor.
because he's like I said, like that's why I love.
Oh,
that's why
it's
I
so
get
true.
to. That's why I love the David Tennant to Matt Smith, because like I said, David Tennant is the guy in turmoil. He goes through so much crap, and obviously Matt Smith does, but I love it that Matt Smith is just like I'm done. I'm done sometimes. Sometimes I'm done hiding it, and I think that's where they wanted Capaldi to really go, but it just.
Yeah,
I felt like it was kind of the next one again. Like, I mean, because I thought that was the whole point again. Like, I don't need to hide myself behind a young face. I am an old man. I'm going to be an old man. But then they didn't go there.
Yeah, I felt like they should have had the olderness of Capaldi be the younger version of him. Like he was like he played too old. Capaldi played to his like oldness, and even he was. I think he said stuff that he wasn't happy with it. But this is the positive, so we'll move on.
Yeah.
And let's see. Oh, this scene here is moving into my favorite Doctor of all of Doctor Who here, but it is a joint one, which includes my favorite three here, and it is also one of my what I consider the kind of I wouldn't call this one quite a pillar of Doctor Who's character, but I would say definitely a important. You know, a supporting beam type thing of what he is as a character. When people are writing his character, this is another one of those quotes / promises in this case that should always be, whatever you write should be run through this prism and go, wait, is this work for him? Because when they don't, there has to be repercussions, which ties in later in Water of Mars, which is a later quote. So I'll go ahead and play this one.
Never cruel or cowardly. Never give up. Never give in.
You're not actually suggesting that we change our own personal history.
We change history all the time. I'm suggesting something far worse.
What exactly?
Gentlemen, I have had 400 years to think about this. I changed my mind.
Still a billion Daleks up there attacking?
Yeah, there is.
But there's something those billion Daleks don't know.
Because if they did, they'd probably send for reinforcements.
What? What don't they know?
This time there's 3 of us.
Oh, yes, that is good. That is brilliant.
Oh, I'm getting that too. That is brilliant.
I've been thinking about it for centuries.
She didn't just show me any old future. She told me exactly the future I needed to see.
Now you're getting it.
Hey?
Oh,
Who did?
bad wolf girl, I could kiss you.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Sorry, did you just say bad?
What's the plan?
I love that. No, that is that whole scene there. He said it's just one of those moments between all three, and I do love that they did a good job of when he's like, when even though he's the oldest actor, he's the youngest doctor, and he's like, I have an idea, and he's like, his next level self is like, I have it too, and his oldest self is like, I know, I've been thinking about it for like 400 years.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, this has been there for a bit.
He's like, I've been pondering this for the 400 years, and it ties into the whole thing in the story episode 2 with the sonic screwdriver. Since it's the same screwdriver, they're like, oh, I'm calculating this thing. And it's like, oh, it'll take like 1,000 years to calculate this, and they're like, oh,
wait a minute,
that this is 1,000 years old because everything you do technically runs through all of us for another like 400 years, and so. That's fun, and I do like the little bad wolf thing. So like the whole playoff thing, and I loved it. And she's like, "I could kiss you," and he's like,
"Oh,
yeah.
that's gonna happen."
Yeah,
especially that little moment where she does get it. She's like, "Wait, I think I'm Rose Tyler. No, wait, in this form." And then it does the little. She's like, "I'm Bad Wolf," and I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah, that was a good way of bringing her. Like I said, I always thought that was a good way of bringing her back. Like that was good bringing a character back without making them, bringing back the true human version of her, but bringing back, like I said, she was almost like a deity level thing where she could literally rewrite reality, or show a version of reality that was reality. It almost like a split off version of reality that was existing, and it was that's the way you do. That's how you change things. Like it has to be on a level that when you do a change, that you go okay, and also keeping continuity. Like I said, you create a story where, unlike currently. Sadly, but where you took something that the writers at the beginning of a current couple seasons said, someone is dead, but we're going to go back and fix that without retconning everything because it doesn't destroy everything. It just moves a fact. Right. They just move a fact. They go from saying Gallifrey's destroyed to Gallifrey's missing.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the choice. Again, it was like I said, all the characters. So. Here we go into one of the amazing episodes. Actually, I would call it one of the more terrifying episodes of the show.
Yeah.
Like it was. I was just watching. I was just watching this again. I was like, "Dang!" I'm like, This is actually pretty like on the edge pacing. I'm like, I know what happens, and I'm like suspenseful here. So it's a longer one, but this is one of the again. I call a pillar. But this is like the tree falling on the pillar, and going. What happens when the character tries to kick out? Actually, I said that wrong. This is what happens when the character tries to remove a pillar from himself, which is the responsibility and trying to be God. So in this scene, he's trying to be God, and the repercussions are swift. So we'll watch this little scene here. It's a little longer one, but I think it's worth respect of what a good scene it is. And talk about mattsmith was the monologue king, I would say. Tennant was the take you on a journey king. Because this scene takes you on a journey. Like this scene here takes you on a journey in every element of where he's going. And
yes, because there are laws of time. Once upon a time, there were people who charted those laws, but they died. They all died. Do you know who that leaves? Me! It's taken me all these years to realize the laws of time are mine, and they will obey me!
Yes, ma'am.
So you have, I'll kind of comment on that previous part. So you have a character who's had these rules in place for him, and he's rejecting the rules. And
yes,
obviously it's a moment where it almost turns into an anti-hero story, or it's almost, this is an episode that when you're watching it, it's almost framed as that moment a hero becomes a villain, and which was so smart to do, because it is the Doctor teetering on being a villain, and I think that's why it's such a great episode, because it goes, what happens if the Doctor goes rogue? And
well, you know, and because almost in a sense though, I'd almost, not that I disagree, because it's like watching it, you know, as you watch it, you know, you watch it more, you kind of start getting that feeling. But I remember the first time myself too, there was kind of this, there's almost a self-doubt that even the audience member has, like that, because you kind of want to go,
yeah, he's
I
right.
want you to take the mantle. Yes. Like I do. It's like I want you to be able to, like, I want, like, you can save everyone, because you know what, and that's what I think I love about it, especially then where it leads to, for the, you know, that leads into his final episodes and him kind of coming to terms with it, and then him getting the almost opposite of the same exact situation, where it's like I can walk away and I'll be fine, or I have to save someone again, and this is the actual end for me, you know, and so I just remember for myself though, like you always had that fight where you're like, I want you to try. I want you to be able to, but then like you said, then as you kind of watch it again, especially, like as I've gotten older and watching it again, I go, you know, it's like, it's always, to
it's
me,
beautiful.
The sense of the Time Lord victorious is definitely, is both obviously, like in the sense of it, like, yes, that's scary if he really did go down that. He said he's taking ultimate power and absolute power at that point. But at the same time,
it's a beautiful moment of his. It's almost like when you have a show that really goes all the way of a character who is inherently good, but then goes down the road too far of
exactly
trying to be good, but at any expense. And they go from, like I said, they go from being the hero to turning into the villain. It's almost like the Batman quote, right? When you live long enough to become the villain type.
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
And
exactly.
it's a little bit of what this one's exploring.
And it does. They give a great, especially because is that last part of it where she actually then?
Yeah, it's in here. So
okay,
we'll
and I'll let that play, because that, like you said, that's
this whole scene here, his levels here. So he saved her now. And she knows that he did.
Saved us.
Just think though. Your daughter and your daughter's daughter, you can see them again. Family reunion.
But I'm supposed to be dead.
Not anymore.
But, Susie, my granddaughter, the person she's supposed to become,
the music is so good.
might never exist now.
Nah. Captain had leg to inspire her face to face. Different details, but the story's the same.
You can't know that. And if my family changes, the whole of history could change. The future of the human race. No one should have that much power.
Tough.
You should.
I love that. Like I said, that moment, right? It's he does such a good job with such simple words where he's just like tough. He's like, I'm not mincing words. He's like, sucks to be you. Oh, yeah, such a good delivery.
Because he's.
And I have more to play. I paused it there because I thought it was a good little pause spot. And I love her drawback. She did a good job too.
Like you said, the subtlety of how they play, and like you said, the music playing, the rest of it, and like you said, you're kind of still like, okay, like you kind of sit there and go like, okay, I understand what she's saying, but you're seeing it, and it is when he gives her that, when he just has that look on his face and he just goes tough. It's kind of, it is a little bit of like the audience members, like you kind of draw back too, because you go, like it is that you get that trepidation of. You're fighting this a little bit too, like you're too attached to this moment right now.
Yeah,
Doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. So here we'll continue. But
Let it roll.
I've done this sort of thing before. In small ways, save some little people. But never.
See, he broke. Remember we were talking about the tenets, the things of that earlier, where I was like, there are the pivotal things that. Going back to I never met someone who's not important.
Yep, and then it's.
So he bent.
I've saved little things. I've done little people. I've
saved little people,
nothing.
little people, and so again, it's not that there's not some level of truth to that statement, because there's different people have impacts. Like this girl's impact was bigger because her daughter was like the first one to explore. It's that kind of ripple effect. Different people have different ripples, but again, it shows that in this moment, he's tinkering with who he is as a character, which I think is very, again, and even though this episode happened to me prior to the one, it shows why it's important that, like I said, when you're writing, when you start pulling those, like the Jenga blocks, right? You start pulling out those elements, it starts becoming unstable.
Someone as important as you. Oh, I'm good.
Little people? What, like Mia and Yuri? Who decides they're so unimportant? You?
For a long time now, I thought I was just a survivor, but I'm not. I'm the winner. That's who I am. The Time Lord victorious.
And there's no one to stop you.
No.
This is wrong, Doctor. I don't care who you are. The Time Lord victorious is wrong.
That's for me to decide. Now you'd better get home. Oh, it's all locked up. You've been away. Still.
I love
That's
this,
easy. All yours.
Is there nothing you can't do?
Not anymore.
No rules. So he has he's seeing that what's happened is essentially he didn't change anything because she made the choice. Changed one thing.
I don't care who you are. The Time Lord victorious is wrong.
I do like this little thing they pull back the ood, which I thought was interesting. Because the ood would be interesting to bring back in an interesting way if they were good writing again. I love this. He goes from this. He goes from. I'm gonna pause there. He goes from. Again, the highest to high almost, right? He's like, I am the victorious, to groveling on his knees. Because like I said, Tennant broke the tenet of what he is as a character. And I love this coming up here. You'll see him get into the TARDIS. And David Tennant did a good job acting on this stuff, because you'll see him get in and he does it like a small, scared child of the dark. When you're afraid the boogeyman's gonna get you. So watch this here coming up. I said, imagine a child being chased by the boogeyman at night, and they're like, don't want him to get me in the dark.
Is it time?
Here it comes. Just quick moments of silence here. Just his look, man. Just his look is just freaking epic. It's just a whole, such a power. Except you're watching it, and I know you're probably thinking like such a powerful scene, such a good scene there. Just like I said, there's very few scenes that are that perfect in stuff. So we have one more here, but before I go to that one, I wanted to go to one back here. Hold on, let me see. I put one out of order.
I think it was before this. These
was
two.
it? Yeah. Oh yes. I think I put it under.
Yeah.
Was it this one? Oh yeah. So here is kind of the Doctor in a similar state as the Mars a little bit, but this is him, his commanding side, and this is like I said, one of those ones, just beautiful. Again, it just.
Yeah. Oh, I'd say because I would love honestly that'd be an actually interesting thing to compare this scene and that one and really go on a deep dive of honestly why it's different, why he is a different person.
Yeah.
But
here's
at the
the
same
scene.
time, it is.
Right. So here we'll play this one really fast.
I'm the Doctor. I'm a Time Lord. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Kasterborous. I'm 903 years old, and I'm the man who's going to save your lives and all 6 billion people on the planet below. You got a problem with that?
No.
In that case, allons-y.
It is so good. Like I said, we're just talking all the different elements of it. It's just one of those ones that it's so. I just remember watching that when that came out. Almost. Probably almost 13 years ago, and to this day, it's still one of those ones that like, oh, so good. It just was so perfect. It was like one of those lines, like little explosions in the background with the sparks flying and the music, and it was just, it was the quintessential
so grandiose.
moment of what he is.
I mean, it was because he's coming in as the ultimate hero. Just like, oh, something needs to get done. All right, guys, let's do this.
Well, and it just
like I said, that's what I love about that.
Because the guy's questioning, because what he's answering to is the guy question that goes, well, who
are
makes
you
the
to be
boss?
leading us
and
around?
he's like, let me tell you. And everyone's like, oh, okay.
Exactly. And then like you said, then you get that whole different scene where he's trying to tell someone else like, oh, well, whatever. I can do whatever I want. And what's funny too, for that scene when the water of Mars, not funny, but you see even throughout the whole scene, I mean, both it's him getting taken in, but you can also see it's him trying to rationalize saving them again, because he knows he knows he's screwing up, and it's like like you said, it's perfect because he's a kid fighting the temper tantrum. He's kind of he gets grumpy at her like, whatever, I don't have to listen to you. You can't really do anything, so I'm not going to listen. He kind of gets it, and he goes, and he shows himself, and like you said, then the hammer drops, and then he becomes the child because it's, I really can't do this. I really screwed up. And then I like it too because, just to go back to one of my scenes for Matt Smith, then it makes that good sense of why Matt Smith has those moments of saying like the stuff like, good men don't need rules. It's not the day to find out why I have so many, because it's like,
right. No, it's so
I mean,
true.
I personally take that as a personal, like, pulling back to those kind of moments of those decisions that he's done again, like something like the Time Lord Victorious and going, there's a reason.
Oh, totally.
Because I can, and I should
not. And this is not a definitive list. So if you're out watching us, and do not take this as like the definitive list of the best, because honestly, there's so many good moments in this show, especially for the first 7 seasons, that we could do this a 24-hour stream on this, going through every episode, pulling out what we think are these really crucial moments. These are ones that just going back and going, okay, let's talk about some ones that still highlight that I remember just off the top of my head, and going back and refreshing and be able to find and go, what are these moments that are really amazing? That's what this is. So if you have other moments that in the show that you personally think are amazing moments,
if you like,
tell us what episode they're in. Throw them. Yeah.
I was gonna say, if you like the little machine that goes ding, then let us know by pressing the ding.
Put it down in the comments, and we'll talk about those moments, because there's so many good moments in the show. That's beautiful. So here is probably the creme de resistance of Tennant's moment, and I'm just gonna play it here, and you're just gonna weep.
I don't want to go.
Right.
The tingles. The tingles.
And Alt Hardest, it's wiped out here. In his console setup.
It is such a final ending. I mean, for him, it's a beautiful ending.
His ending, painful. I would say. And I would say his wrap up is the best one. Like I really do like Matt Smith.
I would agree.
A couple last seasons with him, they're a little convoluted. Some of the little over the top on the kind of the writing stuff, but the I forget if this was around the writer's strike. It could be, but around this time it was this full season, and there was like 3 or 4 special movies essentially, or TV movies essentially. There was The Waters of Mars, there was this episode which is a 2-parter, and I think there was one other. There was the Sand one, where the little creatures were on the sand planet.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And so there was like 4 or 5 episodes that were like
because the season technically ended with what, the Journey's End. It was the Journey's End with them taking the planet. It was the Daleks taking the planet with Donna.
No, it was the Master. This was him fighting the Master.
Well, yeah, no, I'm saying the end of the end of the normal season. The season before they had the extra episodes was Journey's End. Him taking Donna and then getting the second Doctor that he gets to shoot off with Rose and the rest of it. So like I said, I agree with you, because I think they closed off they did a great job of closing off every single avenue of what his storylines are.
You had anticipation because they gave you the knock. They're like, you're gonna die soon. And I think for almost a year we knew that Tennant was leaving. So there was a level of speculation on what episode he was gonna die in. There was speculation when he was gonna leave. And
this was back when, like you said, this still when I was like, because I don't remember how quickly they were like, or how easy it was out that Matt Smith was next.
He was still out.
I feel like
we knew he was the next Doctor. I remember seeing stuff and going, what's this weird looking dude? And then
I'm just saying, this was before everything was getting given out days before, years before everyone's there. Everyone knew everything, and so it's like, oh, okay,
there was a lot more secrets.
This is the end of the season, and this is when it's going to change. So like you said, there was an anticipation going, when's this going to happen? Is it going to happen in Journey's End? And you kind of think it does the way they start playing it. Then you're like, oh, just kidding. Nope, that's not where it is. It's not going to be there. It's not going to be there. We're going to wait and give it to right here and give you the most just heart-wrenching, especially what precedes it.
Oh, and Tennant
saving Wilf to do it.
Oh, yeah.
But
the whole Donna storyline is one of those ones. Like I said, the Donna storylines.
Donna's. Oh my gosh, the Donna.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do an episode about companions and talk out the companions, because I will say again, 1 through 7 companions, seasons 1 through 7, so good, such good stuff, and they all have their good
story arc stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, I was gonna say, because the one I could be wrong, and anyone on YouTube, if they know, they can correct me, but I actually think that the Valet Dechum song that they're singing, I think one of the girls in there and singing is actually Alex Kingston, who is River Song. I think she actually is one of the people who sings in there, which is, I think, awesome. But then I think, because like I said, they closed off almost all of the David Tennant storylines, other than technically only other than River one, Song. And that is the River Song.
Yes, River Song was the one that was still open.
so they did a great job of that one, and then obviously the River Song's talking about companions. The River Song, she's not really a companion. She's a special kind of middle ground on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, what a good one to end. So almost half of the stuff that you had is like the same ones that I was having too. So it's like I bet a lot of people would agree.
I figure that's
but
why
I bet there's a lot of people who have completely other ones as well.
Oh, totally.
So we know there is.
So put those down below if you have those. Thank you for watching. Like I said, if you haven't watched Doctor Who, hopefully these examples have inspired you to watch it. I encourage you to watch it. It is a really good show. Start with, the season 1, Eccleston. Like I said, it's a little more campy, a little lower budget, but solid writing, and it's important because there's the character development for the characters goes through it. And once you get through that one, and it's not even that long. I think it's like 14 episodes. I mean, compared to the old days when seasons had 24 episodes, and you'd be like, yeah, you need to catch up on the 100 episodes of a show. There's not even that many going through it. So it's definitely worth watching, even if you go through it slowly. The beautiful show. I will always love it. Like I said, I need to go buy the Blu-rays before they start changing stuff in it. And like I said, I want my kids to watch it when they're old enough to enjoy it, because I think there's good, valuable lessons in it. I think there's a lot of the mercy, compassion, never cruel, never cowardly. I'm like, these are important traits that I think are important for people. If you were like, hey, don't be cruel and don't be cowardly, well, that would fix a lot of stuff in the world. Yeah. Don't be cruel.
Just a sense of people willing to help other people in an honest way.
Yeah.
Just that true heart of compassion and caring, which is a huge part of the Doctor, and it's like, it's wonderful about the Doctor because obviously it's a huge part of him. And then what I think always gets to pull out great storylines is because he has a massive heart, when he does get hurt, then you get to do those ones where, like I said, that's why I love the Demons Run moment, because it is, that fervor. And if you think that, and when someone comes to you and thinking that coming towards me through people that I love will in any way get you anywhere, you let them know it doesn't. It won't. It'd be the worst mistake they can make in their life.
So good stuff.
And it's like, and I sit there and I go, as a man, I sit there and go, yeah, that's He's kind of what I would want. That's what I would be. That's how I want to be, is exactly that. A compassionate, caring man. But you're going to get one chance. You don't get to go too much farther. And if you're going to come after people I love and I care about, expect the repercussions. Expect the storm. Expect the oncoming storm.
Right. No, beautiful stuff. We talked this slightly earlier, a segue. But there's a lot of elements in the Doctor that I see in like Bash the Stampede from Trigun. An anime show. If you haven't watched that, definitely worth watching. I feel like there's a lot of similarities with the characters, and I don't know when they're writing it. I should try to do some research on that. I don't know if when they were writing that show, if they had. I wonder if they were fans of the Doctor Who. This was that show came prior to in the current version, so it would have been more nostalgic based off the 60s, 70s, 80s versions of the show. But it wouldn't surprise me if the character was loosely inspired by maybe some of the writers watching Doctor Who when they were younger. And again, I don't know if that ever really propagated into Japan, if Doctor Who ever did. It wouldn't surprise me if it did, just because with so much episodes of it, and being writers, people might take inspiration from, Western elements of it. But it's another great show to watch. So thank you for joining me, Shepard, and giving us your thoughts. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on today's episode, talking about, and really today's celebration of Doctor Who, the goodness of what it is. Because for people like me, yes, what's happened with the show in the last couple of years is unfortunate. But like I said, what came before, even if they've retconned stuff and taken away some of those elements, to me and a lot of people like me, the show that was like I said, seasons 60s through 2014, 15. Worth watching. Some of the best sci-fi. Some of the best sci-fi ever written.
No matter what the retcons, they can't take away the history. They can't take away the history and who I've become, who we've become because of watching Doctor Who.
Because the greatness of what it was. So thank you, and have an excellent day.